Well, inflatable Santas are coming to Monroe Street.
Yeah, we first spotted these Santas at the beginning of December, and we thought there's a story here. There were 8 when we first inquired about them.
And now there's more than 30 inflatable Santas, so we sent WMTV's Lila Sherry to check out this Santa takeover once again. Hi, Lila.
Hi, Gabriella. Yeah, at first glance, I think it might just look like some typical holiday cheer, but one new inflatable 20-foot tall Santa is going up pretty much every day here on Monroe Street. It first started with some neighbors, Evan and Amanda. They had some Hallmark Christmas movie inspiration, and they said that they bought a few inflatable Santas just for fun, passed them out to a couple neighbors, and now today at least 25, almost 30 have joined. They just want to spread some holiday cheer, and they really didn't have any idea how big and how blown up, if you will, this really would get. They've gotten such positive responses from neighbors, kids making TikToks, and it's not just on Monroe Street. You can see there's at least 2 or 3 off of Monroe Street, so this is spreading even farther again than they would have imagined. We also know that they have their invitations already ready to go for next year, so again, we will be keeping up with them and excited to see how this all goes down next year. I'm live here on Monroe Street, WMTV 15 News, Lila Sherry.
Yeah, that's dedication right there.